Welcome back. You're watching TVC Breakfast, and we're still on Talk Time, looking at the recent judgments of the Supreme Court and the way forward, the common opinion of the people on these judgments, and if they should be investigated. Still have with me in the studio legal practitioner Tunde Kolaole, looking at this developing issue with me. Thank you for staying with me in the
studio.
Thanks
for having me.
Yes, we're talking about the accelerated hearing and judgment passed by the justices of the Supreme Court. Now, naturally, one would have thought that it's good for democracy because it would somehow mitigate the distraction to governance. It's not been seen like that.
Yeah, it ordinarily should. It ordinarily should, because when matters are disposed of expeditiously and order, it has a multiplier effect on the society in terms of time wasting, in terms of the taxpayers' money, and in terms of letting people put their mind at rest so as to be able to face the businesses that they do have at their hand. But when cases linger for that long, all these anxieties are always there. But then I would want to say that even within the 180 days, if we had done all the things that we require to do, if, for example, like I said, the people, the justices in the Supreme Court are not behaving like people who are living in the moon, who are living in the sky, who are far above what is happening in the society, you probably would have had a better decision regarding what has happened in this election petitions, because when some of those decisions are taken, you begin to ask yourself, especially on cases of corruption, especially in election petitions like this and other, you ask yourself, are these people not members of the society? If we say we are all committed to having a free and fair election, if you all say we want to have a corruption-free society, then the Supreme Court and all the other courts in the land must key into that desire of the overall of the society to have a corruption-free society, to have a free and fair election, such that whatever guidelines INEC put in place on the electronic voting system, this country, that thing, the Supreme Court should have said, it should not have said that it shouldn't be one of those grants for nullifying election. The Supreme Court, like I said, should have treated a kind of a bylaw or a supplementary legislation, supplementary to the electoral, supplementary to the constitution. With that way, all the excesses of our highlights in terms of winning at all costs would have been called. Look at some of the things I was reading in the paper. I have not verified that. That even before the decision in Akwa Ibom was given, one of the dramatic person in one of the big wigs in there had already started jubilating somewhere. And they are showing even their lawyers and all the other people in their political camp and all that it's final. So that means that there's a leakage somewhere. Somebody has...
No, the justices were inside the
when they were still
office,
inside their offices
for hours.
Trying to arrive at whatever decisions the judgment they want to give in the matter.
Okay, let me come in now to ask you, basically, are our courts capable of resolving electoral matters, or is there need for Nigeria to have electoral courts as we have industrial courts?
I am one of those persons who is always wary of specialized courts. When you have a specialized court, the danger you are exposing the justices to and the justice system to can be very, very enormous. If you know a judge or the set of judges who are likely to sit over your matter, the possibilities are that you can begin to find means and ways of compromising them or reaching them. In fact, I want to mention that you will not believe it that in certain states, when cases are filed in court, the lawyers and the litigants are usually shopping for the judges that will sit over their matter. They approach the admin judge, they approach the chief registrar to assign their cases to certain judges. So if you now begin to have specialized court, that kind of the problem that we have in our hand is likely to worsen. Furthermore, go to the banana republics of the Latin America, Honduras and all that, where they have the challenges of drugs, where there are specialized courts to handle drug cases. Most of the judges handling such cases are usually very prone to violence. They kill some of them. So you can begin to have such challenges here too. I would rather want to leave the court system the way it is today. If you require to have more courts that has to handle criminal cases, commercial cases, election petition cases, we could have that. But having specialized courts and all that, I don't subscribe to it at all because of the dangers that could be prevalent in that. And then as regards whether the courts at hand too can dispense justice, I think they can dispense justice most times when they want to dispense justice. But the problem is our politicians are the issues. In fact, I have always said it as without number when I'm discussing with my colleagues that I'm not happy with the number of cases that are going to the courts. You find that most times the politician will do all manners of dirty things and they say go to court. The court should be a place of last resort. People should be able to solve certain problems at the level of the family. People should be able to solve certain problems at the level of the church. People should be able to set certain problems at the level of social clubs and organizations. It is when you are unable to, even at the level of the palaces, the obas and the emirs, it is when you are unable to resolve issues at that level that will go to court. What we are doing today, in which the politician will commit all sorts of criminalities, and then we say let them go to court. What we are doing is politicizing the court. And when you politicize the court, it is the kind of result that you get, that we are getting now, in which all sorts of discordant judgments, all sorts of judgment that would begin to look as absurdity. You begin to get it from some of those courts. It is for us to rein in our politicians and make sure that they behave as gentlemen, as statesmen, not as politicians.
And not corrupt the judges.
And not to corrupt the judges. That's about, who corrupt the judges anyway.
And talking about politicizing the judiciary and the courts, basically, the case of River State is so peculiar that we could tap into many examples of it. Current one, basically, before the final judgment by the Supreme Court justices, was when the governor now, BK, became the governor of the state. And of course, you know that the former governor, Rotimi Amechi, got the NJC chairman. And then when Wike became the governor, he removed the judge and put his own candidate as the chairman of the Judicial Council of Nigeria there. So basically, is it a case of you rub my back, I rub yours, looking at it in politicians now putting judiciary in their own pocket?
That is what they always try to do. That is what politicians will want to do. And I also suspect that any human being who has a peculiar interest in any area we also want to do that. It's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. It is for us to be able to cut all these excesses. I give you an example. When Lee Kuan became the president of Singapore, the leader in Singapore, and he saw the rot in the society, Singapore become like a kind of jungle in which there was no freedom of speech, no fairness in the justice system. Anybody just do whatever they like. And the man said, look, if you are going to have a decent society, we first and foremost must establish the rule of law. And they went around and started shopping for people who are firm, who are decisive, who are humble, who are honest. And he puts them within the justice system so that society can move forward. And immediately, you will not even believe it, he went and put a banker who is a lawyer and made him the court of the own head of the Supreme Court. Because he believed that, look, this man will understand the essence of contract, he will understand the essence of business, he will understand the need not to waste time, not to waste resources. And immediately that man got there, things begin to settle into place. Here in Nigeria, people always shop for whoever they appoint as judges, not just at the magistrate court level, not just at the court, at the High Court and the Supreme Court. Anybody they think that they are not likely to have access to when he becomes a judge, they don't want to appoint him.
Why then the common saying that judiciary is the last hope of the common man?
That is what our allies usually say, so as to rein in the ordinary man on the street. Because if they don't say that and all that, and people begin to embark on self-help, you are likely to have anarchy in the society. Yes, in a few of the cases, our courts have always lived up to our expectations. But when it comes to cases involving the big man, the big people who have enormous resources at their disposal, who have enormous connections here and there, the possibilities are that they always find a way to compromise the justice system. But when it is the ordinary man who doesn't have the wherewithal that I have mentioned, you can always be sure that the justice system will run the way it ordinarily
Thank you very much for your analysis. Thank you very much for coming to the studio. A retiring judge, Honorable Justice Okechukwu Okeke, once said that he would like to be remembered as a victim of injustice in the Nigerian judiciary. That's the food for thought, really, if you could say that. And nothing was done, no investigation was done, yet the judiciary is still existing in its own own circle, basically. Thank you very much, legal practitioner Tunde Kolawole, for your analysis of the activities of the Supreme Court.